Ambassador Krixtar of the Zephon Empire rushed through the enormous doors of the Galactic Council chamber. His 6 eyes showed clear signs of panic as his blue-scaled body trembled with each step. The other council members looked up from their floating seats, their different alien faces showing surprise. "Emergency meeting. Now!" Krixtar shouted, his voice echoing through the crystal dome above them. "The humans have done something impossible." Ambassador Zilnara of the Prism Coalition flickered her crystalline form. "What could humans possibly do that would—" "They signed a treaty with the Vorthan Collective," Krixtar interrupted, his tentacles waving wildly. The chamber fell silent. Every alien present knew the Vorthans. They were the galaxy's most hostile species. They ate diplomats for breakfast, literally. No one had ever made peace with them in 3,000 years. "That's impossible," said General Mordak of the Sentinel Guard. His mechanical voice buzzed with disbelief. "The Vorthans destroy every ship that enters their space." "Not the human ship," Krixtar said. He touched a control panel, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. "Watch this." The recording showed the bridge of a human vessel called Horizon's Edge. A human male in a simple uniform stood facing a massive screen. The name tag on his chest read, "Commander Jake Miller." His relaxed posture seemed wrong for someone talking to Vorthans. "Hi, Commander Gorth," Jake said with a smile. "I brought that whiskey I told you about." The screen showed a Vorthan, a creature that looked like a mix between a shark and a spider, with teeth that could bite through steel. But instead of attacking, the Vorthan made a sound that might have been laughter. "You remembered Jake Miller," the Vorthan growled. "My warriors are curious about this poker game you mentioned." The council members watched in shock as Jake pulled out a bottle and some playing cards. "How about we play a few hands while we go over the treaty details? I'll teach your guys the rules." The recording jumped forward. Now it showed Jake sitting at a table with 3 Vorthans. They held cards in their clawed hands. Glasses of amber liquid sat in front of them. The Vorthans were making sounds that definitely were laughter now. "Full house," one Vorthan announced, showing its cards. "Nice hand, but—" Jake laid down his cards. 4 of a kind beats a full house. Better luck next time, buddy." The Vorthan who lost threw its cards down but was clearly enjoying itself. "This bluffing concept is fascinating. Humans lie for entertainment?" "It's not really lying," Jake explained, refilling everyone's glasses. "It's more like strategic truth management." The Vorthans roared with laughter. Even their high commander was shaking with amusement. The recording ended. The council chamber remained quiet for several long moments. "They're drinking together," whispered Ambassador Thexneal of the Aquatic Alliance. "The Vorthans are drinking with humans. And playing games," added Councillor Vritak. "The Vorthans look happy?" Krixtar's tentacles drooped. "The treaty is real. Full military alliance, trade agreements, cultural exchange programs. The Vorthans want to send their younglings to human schools." "This is madness," General Mordak declared. "Humans treat first contact like a social party. They bring drinks and games to negotiations with species that eat other sentients." Ambassador Zilnara's crystal form pulsed with concern. "How do they do it? What's their secret?" "According to Commander Miller's report," Krixtar said slowly, "they just treated the Vorthans like potential friends instead of monsters." The council members looked at each other. Fear, confusion, and worry filled the chamber. If humans could befriend the Vorthans, what else might they do? The galaxy's most basic rules about diplomacy suddenly seemed outdated. "We need to watch the humans carefully," General Mordak concluded. "This kind of trust could be dangerous." Everyone agreed. But deep down, each council member wondered the same thing. What if the humans were right? 3 months passed since the impossible treaty. The news spread across every star system, but no one believed it until they saw it themselves. Today, the entire galaxy would witness something even more shocking. Captain Lisa Brown stood on the bridge of her ship, the New Horizons. She wore a simple gray uniform with a coffee mug in one hand. Around her, both human and Vorthan crew members worked side by side. This sight alone would have caused panic months ago. Gormak, how's our formation looking? Lisa asked a Vorthan officer. The massive creature, all teeth and claws, turned from his station. Perfect alignment, Lisa. The fleet is ready. He called her Lisa, not Captain Brown, not human commander, just Lisa. Great work, Lisa said, raising her hand. The Vorthan raised his own clawed hand and slapped it against hers. The high five made a loud smack that echoed through the bridge. Several human crew members smiled. This had become normal. In space, 20 ships moved in perfect formation. Half were human vessels. Half were Vorthan warships. They moved together like dancers, turning and spinning in precise patterns. From the Galactic Council observation station, Ambassador Krigstar watched through multiple screens. His tentacles shook with nervousness. This cannot be real, he muttered. Beside him, other council members gathered to watch. Their faces showed the same disbelief. On the main screen, a communication channel opened. High Commander Gorth appeared, the same Vorthan who had played poker with Jake Miller. He sat in his command chair with something unusual on his desk. A human coffee mug that said, Galaxy's Best Dad. Lisa. Gorth's voice boomed. My younglings keep asking when Aunt Lisa will visit again. They finished the coloring books you gave them. The council members gasped. Younglings? Coloring books? Aunt Lisa? Captain Brown laughed. Tell them I'll bring new ones next week, the kind with spaceships they can color. They'll love that, Gorth replied. By the way, thanks for teaching my mate that mac and cheese recipe. It's become our family's favorite meal. Another Vorthan appeared on screen, Commander Keth. Captain Brown, we're ready for the combat simulation. My warriors are excited to try that flanking maneuver you showed us. Remember, Keth, Lisa said, timing is everything. Wait for my signal. In the observation station, General Mordak's mechanical parts whirred with agitation. They gave the Vorthans military tactics and food recipes and coloring books. Look at this, whispered Counselor Vritak, pointing to another screen. The screen showed the inside of a Vorthan ship. Human engineers worked alongside Vorthan technicians. They shared tools, pointed at diagrams, and seemed to be joking with each other. One human offered a sandwich to a Vorthan who took a large bite and nodded approval. The military exercise began. Ships danced through space in complex patterns. Human and Vorthan vessels covered each other, protected flanks, and executed perfect tactical movements. It wasn't just cooperation, it was trust. Phase 1 complete, announced Gormak from Lisa's bridge. The human's crazy idea worked perfectly. Crazy? Lisa grinned. That's just creative thinking, buddy. The Vorthan made that rumbling sound that meant laughter. Last month you humans introduced us to water balloon fights for combat training. My warriors thought you'd lost your minds. Now it's their favorite exercise. The exercise continued for an hour. 0 mistakes, perfect coordination, impossible friendship. When it ended, Lisa appeared on all screens. Great job, everyone. Pizza party on the station at 1800 hours. Vorthans, remember, no eating the delivery drivers this time. Vorthan laughter filled the communications channels. It was clearly an inside joke now. In the observation station, the council members sat in stunned silence. They joke about eating people, Silnara said faintly. The Vorthans joke about their former habits. The humans change them, Krigstar added, not through force or technology, through friendship. Ambassador Thexneal bubbled nervously in his water suit. If humans can do this to Vorthans in 3 months, what happens when they meet other species? Nobody answered. They all wondered the same terrifying thing. Was human friendship the most powerful force in the galaxy? The Galactic News Network broadcast reached every corner of known space. The headline scrolled across millions of screens. Humans form impossible alliances. Galaxy in shock. The anchor, a 3-armed Melloran, spoke in disbelief. Today marks the 5th species to join what many call the human trust circle. Our reporter is live at the scene of the latest diplomatic miracle. The screen switched to show a research station near a nebula. The reporter, a small furry Kyrian, stood next to Dr. Sam Johnson, a human scientist wearing thick rubber gloves and a modified hazmat suit covered in rubber patches. "Dr. Johnson," the reporter squeaked, "you've somehow befriended the Nexari, Hive. Everyone knows their bioelectric fields kill most species instantly. How do you communicate with them?" Sam smiled and adjusted his rubber suit. "Rubber blocks the electricity, and music travels through more than just air." Behind him, the entire wall pulsed with blue electricity. Patterns of light danced across the surface. These were the Nexari, a collective consciousness that lived as pure energy. "Watch this," Sam said. He pulled out a small device and pressed a button. Music filled the air, a simple rhythm. The electric patterns on the wall began matching the beat. "They love Earth music," Sam explained, "especially percussion. The vibrations translate well into their language." The wall flashed rapidly. To most viewers, it looked like random lightning. "What did they say?" the reporter asked. Sam laughed. "They want me to play that song by Queen again. We Will Rock You is their favorite. They've been trying to create their own version." The reporter's eyes widened. "The Nexari are making music?" "Oh yeah." Sam nodded. "Last week they composed something they call Electron Symphony in Blue. It's actually pretty good." The screen split to show another location. Amy Chen, a human pilot, stood in a completely dark room. Around her, shadows moved in ways that hurt to look at. These were the void dancers, beings that existed partially in another dimension. "Amy," another reporter called out, "how do you trade with entities that most people can't even see properly?" Amy wore special goggles that flickered with strange light. "You have to think differently. The void dancers don't see objects like we do. They see intentions and possibilities." She held up what looked like an empty box. "This might look empty to you, but to them it's full of potential. I'm trading possible futures for navigation data." A shadow passed through Amy and she shivered slightly. "That tickles. They're saying hello to your viewers, by the way." The news anchor returned to the screen. "These aren't isolated incidents. Reports flood in from across the galaxy. Humans are befriending species everyone thought impossible to communicate with." A list appeared on screen. The Vorthan Collective, now exchanging recipes and military tactics with humans. The Nexari Hive, learning human music and teaching electrical engineering. The Void Dancers, trading in possibility markets with human merchants. The Crystal Shapers, sharing art projects with human children. The Temporal Weavers, playing time-based games with human physicists. The Galactic Council called an emergency session today. The anchor continued. "We go now to Council member Crickstar." Crickstar appeared on screen, his tentacles waving anxiously. "This trust disease spreads faster than we anticipated. Young members of every species return from human space with dangerous ideas about friendship and cooperation. What do you plan to do?" the reporter asked. "We must study this phenomenon," Crickstar replied, "before it destabilizes our entire—" A young Zephon burst into the frame. "Uncle Crix, look what my human friend taught me." The youngling wore what humans called a baseball cap and made a gesture with its tentacles that looked suspiciously like a thumbs up. Crickstar's eyes closed in defeat. "It's already too late." Back in the studio, the anchor shuffled his papers with 3 hands. Breaking news. The isolationist Hermit Confederation just invited humans to their hidden homeworld for something called a barbecue. We don't know what that means, but it's unprecedented in their million-year history. The screen faded to show a map of the galaxy. Green dots marked human allies. They were everywhere, and more appeared each day. "Is this the end of the galaxy as we know it?" the anchor asked. "Or the beginning of something better?" The ancient ship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a dark cloud. Elder Vexian of the Ethereal Consortium had not left her homeworld in 3 centuries. Now she came to save the galaxy from human foolishness. Behind her massive vessel, a fleet of council ships followed. General Thrackmore of the Iron Legion stood ready in his warship. His mission was simple: Convince humans to stop trusting everyone, or face the consequences. At United Nations Space Command, alarms rang briefly before someone checked the screens. "Sir?" a technician called to his supervisor. "We have visitors, big ones." The supervisor, Colonel Bob Davis, looked at the data and smiled. "Looks like we're having company for dinner. Better call my wife. Tell her we'll need extra plates." The technician stared at him. "Sir, that's an entire alien armada. I can count, son." Bob chuckled. "Still need those extra plates." Elder Vexian's shuttle landed with perfect precision. She emerged in her true form, a being of swirling shadows and ancient wisdom. General Thrackmore followed, his mechanized armor making the ground shake with each step. They expected military escorts, energy weapons, defensive positions. Instead, they found Bob Davis waiting with a smile and a handshake. "Welcome to Earth," Bob said cheerfully. "I'm Bob. You must be tired from the journey. How about some coffee?" Vexian's shadows flickered with confusion. "We come with warnings of your destruction and you offer beverages?" "Well, yeah," Bob shrugged. "Can't have a good conversation without coffee, or tea if you prefer. My wife makes amazing lemonade too." Thrackmore's armor systems analyzed Bob for weapons. Finding none, his voice boomed. "Human, we bring historical proof of species destroyed by trust. You must listen." "Absolutely," Bob agreed. "But first, dinner. My kids are dying to meet real aliens. They've drawn pictures of what they think you look like. Pretty close on you, General, but they gave you rocket boots." The ancient elder and battle-hardened general exchanged glances. This wasn't going as planned. Hours later, they sat in Bob's backyard. The table was set with a checkered cloth. The smell of grilled food filled the air. Bob's wife Karen brought out more dishes while their two children stared at the aliens with wonder. "Can I touch your shadows?" little Emma asked Vexian. The elder, who had terrified civilizations for millennia, found herself saying, "If you're gentle." Thrackmore sat in a reinforced chair, his massive frame barely fitting. Bob's son Danny had climbed onto his lap and was examining his armor's joints. "Is this a plasma cannon?" Danny asked excitedly. "Affirmative," Thrackmore replied automatically. "Class 7, capable of..." "Cool. Want to see my water gun? It shoots really far." The general's combat protocols had no response for this. Bob flipped burgers on the grill while explaining, "See, the thing about trust is that it's like cooking. You gotta know when to add heat and when to let things simmer. Your metaphors don't..." "Change facts," Vexian insisted, though she accepted another lemonade from Karen. "Species that trust are destroyed. We have proof." "Mind if I see it?" Bob asked. They showed him thousands of years of data. Civilizations that trusted and fell. Species betrayed by allies. Empires destroyed by their own kindness. Bob listened, carefully nodding. "Rough stuff, but you're missing something." "What?" Thrackmore demanded. "Those folks trusted blindly. We trust smart," Bob explained. "We read people, learn them. Trust is earned, not given. Like with the Vorthons. Took 3 weeks of poker to know they were good folks under all those teeth." "You gambled with carnivorous monsters?" Vexian's shadows swirled. "Won a few hands too," Bob grinned. "They bluff when their secondary arms twitch." As the evening continued, something strange happened. Thrackmore found himself teaching Danny combat stances. Vexian helped Emma with her math homework, using shadows to illustrate equations. They didn't notice their own defenses dropping. They didn't realize they were laughing at Bob's jokes. They certainly didn't plan on accepting invitations to next week's movie night. When they left, their dire warnings about trust seemed less urgent. Their reports to the council were suspiciously positive. The galaxy's greatest skeptics had fallen to humanity's most dangerous weapon, a backyard barbecue. The Ravager Armada emerged from hyperspace like a metal storm. 500 warships, each one scarred from countless battles. Their reputation spread fear across the galaxy. They had never honored a single treaty, never shown mercy, never stopped until their enemies were dust. On the bridge of the Galactic Council Observation Station, emergency sirens wailed. Crickster's tentacles turned pale as he watched the screens. "They're heading straight for human space," he whispered. "The humans are finished." General Mordak's mechanical voice carried grim certainty. "The Ravagers will destroy them. Humans will learn their trust has limits." Ambassador Zilnara's crystalline form dimmed with sadness. "Should we evacuate human refugees?" "What refugees?" Mordak replied coldly. "There won't be survivors." On Earth's moon base command, Admiral Kate Foster received the news calmly. She stood up from her command chair, straightened her uniform, and made an announcement that shocked. "Everyone, prep my personal shuttle. I'm going alone." Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Ryan Murphy, nearly choked on his coffee. "Admiral, that's suicide," Kate smiled. "Maybe, but I've got a feeling about this." "A feeling?" Ryan stared at her. "The Ravagers eat feelings for breakfast. They've broken every treaty in galactic history." "That's because nobody ever gave them a reason not to," Kate replied, heading for the door. "Besides, I make excellent coffee." The shuttle launched with just Kate aboard, no weapons, no shields. Just one human woman flying toward 500 death machines. The Ravager fleet detected her immediately, their weapon systems locked on. The command ship's screen lit up with the image of Warlord Grix, a creature that looked like someone, had mixed a tank with a nightmare and given it anger issues. "Human," Grix growled, his voice like grinding metal. "You dare approach alone? Are you surrendering your species?" "Nope," Kate said cheerfully. "Just coming to chat. Permission to come aboard?" The bridge of the Ravager command ship fell silent. In their 1,000-year history, no one had ever asked permission to board. They usually just shot at them. "This is a trick," Grix's second-in-command suggested. "One human? No weapons?" Grix leaned forward, intrigued. "Let her dock. I want to see this insanity up close." Kate's shuttle entered the massive warship. She walked through corridors lined with battle trophies, pieces of conquered ships, broken weapons, and things better left unidentified. Ravager warriors watched her pass, confused by her lack of fear. She entered the bridge carrying a thermos and a tablet. Grix towered over her, 3 times her height, covered in battle scars and cybernetic implants. "You have 10 seconds to explain. Before I vaporize you," Grix announced. Kate poured coffee from her thermos into 2 cups. "Want some?" "It's Colombian blend. Earth's finest." Grix had threatened to destroy solar systems. He'd torn apart space stations with his bare claws. But no one had ever casually offered him coffee while under death threat. He took the cup automatically. "What are you doing?" "Having coffee and showing you something interesting," Kate said, activating her tablet. "Did you know you guys have the best military record in galactic history?" "Of course we do," Grix growled, then paused. "Wait, you think that's good?" "Incredible, actually," Kate continued. 500 straight victories. Do you know how hard that is? The tactical genius required? The coordination? You're not just warriors, you're artists. No one had ever called Ravager warfare art before. Grix found himself sitting down, still holding the coffee. Kate pulled up battle recordings. "Look at this flanking maneuver from the Centauri conflict. Beautiful. And here, the way you used gravity wells in the Nexus War. Brilliant." Other Ravager officers gathered around. They'd never seen their battles analyzed with appreciation, instead of fear. "You understand warfare," Grix said slowly. "I understand warriors," Kate corrected. "And I bet warriors like you are tired of the same old thing. Where's the challenge in crushing weak opponents?" "What are you suggesting, human?" Kate smiled and showed a new screen. "How about a real challenge? Joint operations with humans, new tactics, worthy opponents to test yourselves against. The unknown. Regions are full of threats nobody's faced." The bridge buzzed with interest. New battles, fresh challenges, actual recognition for their skills. "And if we say no?" Grix asked. Kate shrugged. "Then you blow us up and go back to being bored." For the first time in history, a Ravager warlord laughed. The Galactic Economic Council met in their crystal towers on the neutral world of Zentara. The richest beings in the galaxy gathered to discuss an alarming trend. Chairman Voss, a spider-like, arachnid banker, tapped his golden staff for attention. The human disease spreads, he announced. Look at these reports. Holographic charts filled the room. Red lines showed traditional fear-based economics dropping. Green lines showed something new rising, trust economics. The selenite merchants have gone mad, reported Director Cree, waving her tentacles at the data. They're offering credit without collateral. They say they're trying the human way. Another member stood up, a quantum collective representative whose body shifted between solid and gas. My people started sharing technology freely. No patents, no restrictions. They visited human makerspaces and came back changed. The room erupted in worried voices. Everyone had similar stories. Meanwhile, on the Zephon homeworld, young Crix Tar, nephew of the ambassador, stood before the imperial court. He wore strange blue fabric on his legs and a shirt with earth writing. The court members gasped at his appearance. "What are you wearing?" demanded the High Chancellor. "Jeans and a t-shirt," Crix Tar replied happily. "Super comfortable. Humans invented them. Way better than formal robes for everyday stuff." "Remove those things immediately," the Chancellor ordered. "Actually," Crix Tar said, "I'm here to propose something. During my cultural exchange on Earth, I learned about trust falls. It's a team-building exercise where, absolutely not." The Chancellor's voice shook the chamber. "Zephons do not fall for anyone." But Crix Tar wasn't alone. Behind him, dozens of young Zephons entered. All wore human-style clothes. All had visited Earth. All had ideas. "Uncle told you humans were dangerous," young Crix Tar continued. "He was right. Their ideas are dangerously good." On the mining world of Korvax Prime, something unprecedented happened. Korvaxian workers, known for their suspicious nature, started helping each other without payment. They shared tools. They worked together on projects. Mine supervisor Grant watched in confusion as his workers sang while digging. They'd learned the songs from a human engineer named Joe who'd visited last month. "Why are you helping Crew 7? Grant asked a worker. "They're not paying you." The worker, covered in rock dust, smiled. "Joe taught us about paying it forward. Help someone today, someone helps you tomorrow. It's like investing in future friendship." Grant's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. "That's the stupidest thing I've—" He paused, watching how much faster the work progressed. Actually, productivity is up 300%. Back in the council chambers, an emergency session convened. Ambassador Crix Tar, the elder one, slumped in his seat as reports poured in from across the galaxy. The young ones returned from Earth with dangerous ideas, he reported. They speak of community and cooperation. They organize potlucks where everyone brings food to share. They play games, called team sports, where winning together matters more than individual glory. General Mordak's circuits sparked with frustration. "My own soldiers started a book club after meeting human Marines. They discuss feelings, warriors discussing feelings." "It gets worse," added Counselor Vritak. "The Hive Queens of Zarax attended a human music festival. Now they want to host one. Do you know how many species would attend?" "Millions," Ambassador Thexnil bubbled anxiously. "The human economic model spreads faster than their friendship. Species trade based on reputation instead of threats. They honor agreements because they want to, not because they fear consequences." Elder Vexian materialized in the center, her shadows swirling with concern. "Last week I attended another barbecue at Bob Davis's house. He taught the Void Dancers how to play volleyball. The Temporal Weavers learned to make s'mores. I joined a neighborhood watch group." Everyone stared at her. "You did what?" Crix Tar gasped. "We protect the community together," Vexian admitted, her ancient dignity cracking. "I have a whistle and everything." The council economist, a crystalline being named Flux, projected final calculations. "At current rate of cultural conversion, the galaxy will be completely humanized within 5 years. Traditional power structures will collapse. Fear-based control will end." The council sat in stunned silence. Through the windows, they could see young beings of all species playing something humans called frisbee in the plaza below. "Is this the end of civilization as we know it?" Mordak asked. "No," Crix Tar said quietly, watching the youth outside laughing together. It's the beginning. The void between galaxies lit up with an impossible sight. A massive bioship emerged from the darkness, a devourer vessel, larger than most space stations. Behind it, hundreds more followed. The devourers had arrived. Every warning system in the galaxy screamed alerts. On the council station, members who had been arguing about human influence suddenly forgot their disputes. The devourers, whispered Ambassador Zilnara, her crystal form turning black with fear. They've found us. For millions of years, the devourers had consumed entire civilizations. They didn't negotiate, they didn't trade, they didn't even communicate. They simply absorbed everything: technology, culture, biological matter, leaving dead husks of worlds behind. General Mordak's tactical systems calculated their options. 0% survival rate. No civilization has ever survived devourer. Contact. Krikstar's tentacles drooped. Should we evacuate the core worlds? To where? Vexian's shadows trembled. The devourers will consume everything eventually. Then a human voice cut through their despair. Captain Mike Torres appeared on the communication screen. Hey folks, mind if we take first crack at this? The council stared at him. Mike wore a Hawaiian shirt and cargo shorts. His ship, visible in the background, was loaded with something bizarre: colorful containers and what looked like recreational equipment. Captain Torres, Mordak said slowly. Those are devourers. They've destroyed millions of worlds. Yeah, read about them, Mike nodded. Scary stuff. But here's the thing. Has anyone actually tried talking to them? They don't talk, Krikstar shouted. They consume. They communicate through consumption, Mike corrected. I brought snacks. Before anyone could stop him, Mike's ship launched toward the devourer fleet. Behind him, 3 more human vessels followed, all carrying similar cargo. The lead devourer ship was a nightmare of organic technology. Part creature, part machine, all hunger. It could swallow Mike's ship whole without noticing. As he approached, massive tendrils reached out to grab him. Here goes nothing, Mike muttered. He activated the cargo release. Thousands of containers burst open. Food from across the galaxy spilled into space. Vorthon battle rations, selenite crystal honey, Earth pizza, Zephon spice clouds, quantum energy bars, even some of Bob Davis's famous barbecue, specially preserved. The tendrils paused. The devourer ship seemed to sniff. Then the containers vanished, absorbed instantly into the bioship. The galaxy held its breath. Inside the devourer ship, something unprecedented happened. The collective consciousness that was the devourers tasted something new. Not fear. Not desperation. Not the last defiant weapons of dying civilizations. They tasted welcome. They tasted sharing. They tasted hospitality. A sound emerged from the bioship, not the scream of consumption that worlds knew and feared. Something else. Something that might have been curiosity. Mike activated his translator, set to maximum interpretation. Did you like it? We've got more. Different flavors from every species that wants to be friends. The bioship shuddered. Slowly, impossibly, it began to change shape. The aggressive tendrils retracted. The weapon ports closed. Something that looked almost like a mouth formed on its surface. The first words the devourers ever spoke in their billion-year existence came out as, "Flavor cow interesting, more?" Mike grinned. "That's the spirit. Lisa, launch the dessert course." Captain Lisa Brown's ship released the second wave. Cakes, pies, alien confections, crystallized energy from the Prism Coalition, temporal fruit that tasted different in each moment. The devourer fleet began to move. The council prepared for the end. But instead of attacking, the bioships formed a circle around the human vessels. Combinations, the lead devourer spoke, its voice like 1,000 whispers. You mix flavors, mix cultures, never experienced this. Always consumed alone. This is sharing? Exactly, Mike said. Want to try making something together? I bet. With your consumption abilities and our recipes, we could create the greatest restaurant in the galaxy. The council watched in stunned silence as humanity's most insane gamble played out. They'd weaponized food. They'd turned consumption into communication. Elder Vexian fainted. General Mordak's circuits overloaded. Ambassador Krikstar just sat there, tentacles limp, muttering. They brought snacks to the apocalypse. They brought snacks. In space, the Devourers tried their first collaborative creation, a fusion of Earth chocolate and Vorthan battle spices. Their verdict echoed across the void. Delicious. 1 year later, the galaxy looked nothing like before. The massive galactic Unity Festival filled the neutral zone with lights, music, and the smell of countless different foods. Ships from every corner of space gathered for the first celebration of its kind. Ambassador Krikstar stood at the main podium. His tentacles, once pale with worry, now glowed with healthy colors. He wore a festival badge that said, "Trust Champion," in 47 languages. "Fellow beings," he began, his voice reaching billions across the galaxy. 1 year ago we feared human madness would destroy us all. We were right to fear, but wrong about the destruction. Behind him, a holographic display showed the transformation. The Devourers, now calling themselves Galactic Gourmets, operated the most successful restaurant chain in history. Their bioships had transformed into traveling food courts, bringing cuisine from every world to every corner of space. "Look around you," Krikstar continued. Vorthans teaching Selenites poker. Nexari creating music with void dancers, quantum, collectives sharing technology freely, and humans everywhere building bridges we never thought possible. In the crowd, Jake Miller sat at a table teaching card games to a mixed group. A young Ravager warrior, 2 ethereal shadows, a crystalline child, and a small devourer that looked like a friendly blob with eyes. The pot in the middle wasn't money, it was promises, favors, future friendships. "I'll see your language lesson and raise you a cooking class," the Ravager said, pushing a chip forward. "Deal," laughed the shadow being. "But I want to learn that pasta thing humans keep talking about." Above them, fireworks exploded in patterns designed by the Prism Coalition, another human addition to galactic culture. The sky lit up with impossible colors that each species could appreciate in their own way. General Thrackmore, once the galaxy's fiercest skeptic, now ran a youth sports league. His massive frame bent down to help a small Kyrian child hold a baseball bat correctly. "Remember," his mechanized voice said gently, "it's not about hitting hard. It's about timing and teamwork." Nearby, Bob Davis flipped burgers at a massive grill. His neighborhood watch had grown to include beings from 30 different species. His wife Karen handed out plates while their kids played with alien children, all wearing matching Galaxy United t-shirts. "Order up," Bob called. 1 Vorthan special, extra spicy, 2 Earth classics, and 1 temporal sandwich for our weaver, friends. At the restaurant section, the Devourers had created their masterpiece. Their head chef, the same being that once consumed entire worlds, now carefully plated a fusion dish. "Today's special," it announced proudly, "combines flavors from 17 different worlds. Each bite tells a story of friendship." Elder Vexian floated by, her shadows wearing a festival volunteer vest. She directed traffic with her whistle, making sure everyone found their destinations. "Poker tournament to the left, music stage straight. Ahead, Trustfall workshop starting in 10 minutes. The council members sat together at the VIP table watching the impossible scene. Where once they'd planned defense against humanity's influence, they now celebrated it. "The humans changed everything," Counselor Vritok admitted, sipping something called a milkshake. "Not changed," corrected Dr. Sam Johnson, who'd joined their table. "Just showed what was always possible. Every species had kindness. You just needed permission to show it." As the night continued, the announcement everyone waited for came. The Galactic Council officially declared the old currency system obsolete. The new standard? Trust credits, earned by helping others, spent by receiving help, measured by reputation rather than resources. The Devourers had the highest credit rating. Their transformation from destroyers to chefs had earned unlimited trust. "To humans," someone shouted from the crowd. To friendship, another voice added. To the galaxy's most dangerous weapon. General Mordak raised his glass. Weaponized kindness. The crowd erupted in laughter and cheers. Fireworks spelled out words in every language, but they all meant the same thing. Welcome to the neighborhood. Jake Miller looked at his poker hand and smiled. 4 aces. But he folded anyway, passing the win to the young Ravager who'd never won before. The kid's victory dance caused everyone to laugh. You actually trusted a human at poker? Someone joked. Absolute madness. The best kind, Jake replied, shuffling. For another game. The galaxy had been saved by the most unlikely force, human friendship. And it would never be the same.